G'day everyone, James McIntyre here again. What's the Big Bang Theory got to do with how you should be able to learn to talk to artificial intelligence to get the right answers that you want, and how you can literally get 16 hours worth of creation done in just 8 minutes? And I'll show you how. So if you haven't used ChatGPT yet, just go straight up here, scan this. It'll take you to ChatGPT and allow you to download it for your phone and all of that. So what is it? It's a large language model. That just means it's been trained on lots of data, probably bunches of stuff from out on the internet. It's also acts as an intelligent virtual assistant, and we'll get onto that in just a minute. But it's most important to know what it's not. If you've tried using it as a search engine in the past, you probably won't be very happy with it because it doesn't work the same way, and it's not supposed to. And it's definitely not going to be a staff replacement. So we can use this analogy. There's a very, very helpful librarian, and I'm an IT guy. I need to get a non-disclosure agreement written. So I go to the very, very helpful librarian, which is a search engine, and I say, hey, I need to write a non-disclosure agreement. And so she'll say, well, here's some books on contract law. Here's some court cases from Ohio and from the Supreme Court and from the city of Cincinnati. And so there you go. Oh, and by the way, here's a couple of law books with maybe a couple of sample ones in there. And I say, can you write that for me? And she's going to say, that's not my job. But with a very helpful assistant. So I certainly hope that you know Sheldon Cooper from the Big Bang Theory. Okay, so Sheldon, he's got like Asperger's, and it's a little bit difficult dealing with him sometimes. So if you go into his place, you go to eat dinner with him, you're both heating up the exact same meal. He heats it up, and you say, how long was that for? And he's eating it, and he says, a minute and a half. So I put it in for a minute and a half, and I get it, and I start eating. I go, this is still frozen. He says, yeah, it probably should have been in for 4 or 5 minutes. I say, why didn't you tell me that? And he says, you didn't ask me. And that's the way that ChatGPT can be sometimes. Sometimes it's there and it gets very, very specific. So the more information you give it, the much better the results will be. But sometimes it will just give you something that is not very good. And that's also a bit of a warning. That's why, since we're dealing with Sheldon, it is your responsibility to make sure that you check his work. Because if you copy and paste it and there's garbage in there or something offensive, then that's on you, because you know exactly what he is like. And so the search engine stops here. It just goes ahead and it just displays the results for you. With the large language model, it does the phase where it outputs information, and then you're allowed to say, hold on a second, could you make this a little bit better? Could you make this a little bit more precise? Could you make it less formal or more formal or whatever it is? And all that it does is it does lots and lots of deep mathematics to get to that point. So if I was going to hire a person, whether I'm hiring someone for HR or IT or finance, whatever it is, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to define the role. So if I want a grant writer, I'm going to say, hey, I need you to be a grant writer, and I need you to have these skills and to work in this particular fashion and to output information the way that I want it. Then you'd go ahead and you'd recruit and you'd hire them. Then you onboard them and you tell them a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the organization. And then you mentor and train them by going back and forth to make sure that they give the best answers that they possibly can. And then you give them goals, and then you go ahead and evaluate those goals, and you see exactly what happens. And by going back and forth, that's how you get it to get the best results. Now, the only difference between onboarding an artificial intelligence and hiring a person is this one here. You don't have to recruit and hire them. But with the artificial intelligence, like with Sheldon, you say, hey, Sheldon, right now I need you to be a grant writer. Right now I need you to review contracts. Right now I need you to basically be able to write job descriptions for HR. And then you onboard him, give him the information that he needs to know about you, the way you want things done. Do you want things in bullet point form, or do you want it in long prose form? And that's up to you. And then you go ahead and you evaluate it and you say, well, let's get this fixed here. I'll probably show this slide almost every week. Here's just an example of lots of things that you can do at the YMCA. And all we have to do is just ask it, what's 20 more things that you can do? And it can do lots and lots of different things to save you a ton of time. So let's get very specific here about how you talk to Sheldon. So if you want to get the best out of Sheldon, you have to give him some context. Like in this case, you're a sports director, specifically at this particular YMCA. And then to even get more specific, to say, okay, I want you to create a 6-week schedule for these people, and here are the names of the teams. And then the intent or goal is, well, we've got a lot of constraints, and so I need you to come up with a schedule that will work for everyone. And on Saturday mornings, it's between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. You're only allowed one practice per week between 6 and 8 on Wednesdays. And then the format is, it's got to be clear, easy to follow. We need to make sure that there's no overlapping games and times, and so on. And then all you do is you put that in, and by having all of that detail, by sort of saying you are an expert grant writer, you understand about how to write for nonprofits and specifically how to talk to these individuals, by doing that, it will allow you to get much better results. So what we'll do is we'll go over and do a demo for that right now. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a jump across to ChatGPT and to copy those instructions, and then we'll paste that into ChatGPT, and we'll just see how long it takes for it to start creating that schedule. And so it's there, and it says memory up, and literally in seconds, it is now starting to go through and create that. And it does a very good job of making sure that it gets all of the constraints in there. Now, sometimes, remember, this is Sheldon. If he's there and he misses something in that, all you do is just go back and say, oh, hold on a second. Things are supposed to finish at 2, not go from 2 to 3. So I just stopped it right there, just because you get the idea. And literally there are these 15 different things, which I will put up on the screen here, which I was able to create all of these, which is about 16 hours worth of work, in just 8 minutes worth of computing time. Now, this one here, I'm saying, hey, why don't we write a grant for $75,000 for youth sports? And so what I'm going to do here is start a new chat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a place where I've already got the grant writer. And so I've already given it sort of like half a page worth of instructions, but this is a custom GPT where it always remembers who it is, who it works for, and so on. And so this thing here right now, it says, hey, here's the organizational background, here's a program overview. And so how on earth does Sheldon know how to do this and create schedules? Because he's seen 500,000 of them before. He's seen 500,000 grants, so he knows exactly how to write a grant. What's this? The budget? Where does it come up with the budget from? Because he's seen budgets for youth sports all over the place. And so by analogy, he can come up with one that works really well. Now, this one here, I'm actually going to review a contract. This is a fake contract by Acme Company. And what they're doing is they are writing software for the YMCA. And so what I did was I got some unusual things put in there, some extreme things put in there, and some normal things put in there. And with this particular GPT, what I did was I said to it, I want you to review things in this way. So it's saying all of these things are normal. So what I'm going to do here is go through the instructions, which I've done for this custom GPT. So it says, hey, here's my name, here's where I work, here's how much money it makes, we're a non-profit, here's our address, here's our mission, our values, the things that we actually do, healthy living, youth development, social responsibility. We believe in achievement, relationships, and belonging, and that will get a person to be as best as they can possibly be. And that we believe in transforming lives. Got to get the transactions right, but we want to make sure that we transform lives. But this is the piece right here. I says, I need you to be an expert consultant on contracts, NDAs, other such contractual matters, etc., etc. You need to understand Cincinnati, Ohio, federal law, and then go through and put them into what's normal, what's unusual, and then what's extreme. Now, in this case, the unusual pieces, they all benefited the YMCA, so that's a good thing. The normal pieces, they're really good to have a look at as well. And then there's the extreme clause, which is below. Now, do not use this as a substitute for reading it yourself or getting a lawyer to review it. However, if I get sent something like this and I see a red line straight away, I can just sort of say, hold on a second, there's no point in going forward until I get that red line solved. And so in this particular extreme clause, it said, hey, you can quit anytime you want, but you owe us 100% of anything anyway. And that is so extremely disadvantageous to the YMCA that needs to be done. And then it goes through with some recommendations to tell you, hey, here is like some other recommendations that you can do to fix this problem. Hey, everyone, you know that things are really moving so fast. You've got to reach out and catch the lightning. Until next time, be good to yourselves.